Hello, my name is Hada Namoko Busia Singleton. I am very, very honored to be a part of this blessed anniversary message from my grandfather, and I'm very, very pleased to be revisiting the Prof this week in Brazil, speaking about my grandfather, learning about his life. This project is very, very dear to me. I inspired my mother years ago in elementary school, and it started with a question.
Papa, your youngest grandchild, Hada, who you've never seen, asked me about you again today. She Googled you at school on her computer. Certain facts came up, and a picture, she says, of your face, your shoulders, one naked, one draped in kente cloth. There were no legs to you, just your torso and your face. She said it was not enough. She wanted more, to see, to know much, much more. So I brought her to Wenchi, to our home, your home, to trace your footsteps. Like a dream, Papa, I remember you. Visions and voices and the feel of your hands. Like a dream, I remember you. Visions and voices, visions and voices. We trace you, Papa. We trace you. We trace you. We trace you. We trace you.
He was a man who, when he was giving money to take on his trips, not money, checks, travelers' checks, he goes, he stops in London and pays his bills. He goes to Oxford and comes back. He pays nothing in Oxford. So he writes everything. When we get back, he would sit in his office, work out exactly what he spent that should go to government. Everything else he would take out and then return the remainder of the travelers' checks through me to Bank of Ghana. Hardly were we all doing that. If you are giving travelers' checks to go out, when you come back, you know that the remainder is yours, not for Prof. No. It is what was spent in connection with his travel that he takes out. The rest is returned to Bank of Ghana. We were forced to learn to do that. I had to start learning to do that because I didn't want him to call me one day and say, Kwabna, did you spend all your money? For me to say, no, sir. Where's the rest? In my account. No. You know, he's a good man. He was a good man. He was a good man. Honest.
On Saturdays, he asked me, Yaya, where are the things they've brought to me this week? Papa will divide the things into 4 parts. A quarter to the police officers, a quarter to the soldiers, a quarter to the plainclothes security men, and a quarter to his driver.
I believe it was Professor Busia who started the slogans about Don't accept gifts.
Don't accept gifts. They corrupt. He made us put all this in the offices.
Anyone in public office against whom a commission of inquiry has made adverse findings that while he was in office he abused his position or misused public funds should be kept out of Parliament for at least for 5 years. This is one way of trying to establish that we expect people in public office to behave with honesty and with integrity.
But where you have a system which is really founded on people taking a cut on business operations and on government operations, how do you go about actually stopping it? And how do you persuade the people giving you aid that you have effectively stopped it?
Well, founded, this was only by practice of the previous government. We determined not to have 10% cuts and all that kind of thing. And since we are in the government, we can stop this. We don't intend to have it. I agree, I can see a certain disillusionment in aid. But again, we are prepared to accept the discipline that is necessary to ensure that aid goes into the projects for which they are intended.
Discipline. And we had in each office, the ministries, the word discipline printed and put there. When you see it, you know that you ought to discipline yourself.
Every morning, between 6:15 and 6:30, he would call me on the phone and we would discuss the work for the day. And those days, it included Saturdays.
I briefed him first before everybody briefed him. 7:45 sharp, I'll underline with red pen and sign. And everybody who signed later was called at the end of the month to the room upstairs to explain why they were late. But it worked because then people were coming. They were going to work early, and if you were not working, you will go to the Prime Minister and explain there at the end of the month.
Why do you find it necessary to keep talking about discipline?
I see it as a national problem. The discipline of people going to work on time and working hard throughout the 8 hours that they are supposed to work. The discipline of taking care of government property, not wasting paper, not wasting government property, taking care of buildings. All this is discipline, because all this requires discipline. If you economize on government property, it means that the money can be put to some other purpose for the general good.
Unfortunately, people didn't understand. Perhaps he was a bit too ahead of his time.
And now at 21 years old, the amount of doors of interest that this project opened for me to learn about my family and to learn about the history of my country. The doors are endless, the doors keep opening, and I'm very, very blessed, pleased, honored, and grateful to have Dr. Kofi Abrafa Busia as my grandfather, and I am very pleased for you to also celebrate his life this week. Thank you.
To all Ghanaians, progress!